All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's on the Power. So I wanted to give you guys an update here on Rory Leidelmeyer. And if you don't know who Rory Leidelmeyer is, he's one of my favorite Golden Era bodybuilders. In fact, he's one of the first Golden Era bodybuilders that I ever made a video on. He's one of the guys that never turned pro during the time that he was competing, but he was one of the best bodybuilders of that era, arguably that never became a pro bodybuilder. He had those classic lines, the shape, the structure, the symmetry, and most importantly, he had incredible posing. That's one of the things I wanted to focus on in this video here, is at the age of 62, he posted a posing update video on Instagram just a day or so ago, where he looks absolutely incredible. I mean, for 62 years old, this guy looks like he hasn't missed a step. In fact, his arms almost look like they're even bigger than they were back in his prime competitive years. So Rory competed a little bit in the 70s, but he would mostly compete throughout the 80s, and that's where he would really go on his run of trying to turn pro. So during the 80s, he competed in the Nationals 3 times, in 83, 84, and then in 86. His best placing being at the 83 Nationals, placing second. So that was the closest he ever came to a pro card. And he also competed in the USA's trying to get a pro card in 1987. Then he would go on again in 1994 to try to get that pro card at Nationals, placing 14th in 94. And probably the most prestigious title held by Rory Leidelmeyer would be the Mr. America title in 1988. And of course, he also won the Mr. California in 1980. But despite the fact that he never turned pro and he had these frequent attempts at turning pro, he was a very well-known and very recognizable bodybuilder during the 1980s. I mean, some of his photos were some of the greatest photos, in my opinion, taken of any bodybuilder during the 1980s. This particular photo right here where he's outside, I think is one of the greatest bodybuilding photos of all time. He's on the cover of countless magazines, so he was a very well-known bodybuilder for that. So one of the most interesting things about Rory Leidelmeyer is, again, the fact that he never turned pro, but the reasoning that he gives for why he never turned pro. He's actually quoted as saying that he believes in a balanced life and that his family comes before any bodybuilding competition. So he's actually said that he didn't want to turn pro because he'd rather focus more on his family, and being a pro athlete wouldn't allow him the time that he would need to focus on his family. So he was content competing as an amateur, really whenever he felt like it. So Rory would actually go on to have a couple of acting roles here and there, but he's more known now for being a posing and training coach out in California. And that's why I wanted to show you guys this video, because I think it's very impressive what he's been able to do through living a healthy lifestyle all the way into his 60s and continuing to train and continuing to pose and work on that posing and his physique all the way into his early 60s. I think he looks absolutely phenomenal. And I think if he did a Masters NPC show in the 60 and over, there would be absolutely nobody that could take this guy. I mean, who looks like this in their 60s? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Nick's on the Power, signing out.